Salvage writes, Part 1. The Wreck. The freighter drifted in the black like a corpse. Its hull was ruptured in 3 places, slowly bleeding gas into the void. Lights flickered uselessly across its length, some sort of emergency beacon stuttering from the bridge like a dying heartbeat. The ship had no nameplate left, just scoring from what looked like plasma fire and an ugly gash down one side like it had been clawed at by something with steel fingers. Salvage stared at it from the wretched light's cockpit, sipping lukewarm coffee. He'd picked up the signal 3 days back. No response to hails, no signs of life. The kind of thing a younger, dumber version of himself might have flown right past. But not now. Not after a dry season like this. And not when salvage rights paid better than most contracts. He brought the ship in close, systems humming low. His scanners showed minimal power still leaking from the aft section. No defense grid, no life signs. Still, he powered up the shields, just in case. Docking was tricky. The port was buckled and crooked like a broken jaw. He had to cut his primary thrusters and ease in with microbursts. The magnetic clamps latched on with a dull thud, and the airlock cycled slower than he liked. The emergency lights inside the corridor were a deep red, pulsing like a warning, like the ship was trying to say, "Turn back." He ignored it. Salvage stepped aboard, boots clanging on metal. The air was thin but breathable, filled with that familiar tang of old coolant and scorched wiring. His torch swept left to right across stripped panels, exposed cabling, and a floor littered with loose tools and snapped wires. The place had been hit hard, pirates maybe, or worse. He made his way through the freighter, room by room. Cargo bays, empty, crew quarters, abandoned, some signs of a rush, drawers left open, a boot without its pair, a data pad cracked underfoot. No blood, no bodies, just silence. Lot of effort for nothing, he muttered as he tapped the door controls to engineering. What were you hauling? The engineering bay was a mess. Half the systems fried, the other half shut down. One thing stood out, though. A manifest on the wall, still lit, barely. It listed power cells, rations, scrap metal, and something marked only as classified, passenger cargo, hold 3F, passenger cargo. Salvage narrowed his eyes. He made for hold 3F. The door to the hold was half jammed. He pried it open with a crowbar from the nearby wall bracket, metal screeching like a wounded animal. The inside was darker than the rest of the ship, colder too. His torch beam swept over crates, netting, and then pods. A dozen of them. Cryopods. Most were dark, frost clinging to the edges. One of them was cracked open. He stepped closer, empty. That's when he heard it. A faint click, then another, a soft scuttling, metal on metal. He spun, torchlight cutting through the dark. Nothing. Salvage tensed, hand resting near his holster. But after a long pause, the ship stayed silent. Just groaning metal and distant drips of condensation. Maybe the crack was old. Maybe whoever was inside was long dead. Or gone. Still, he didn't like it. He keyed the salvage beacon on his wrist. Claiming vessel for salvage. No signs of crew. Will begin towing procedure shortly. He turned to leave. Didn't see the movement in the shadows above the crates. Didn't hear the breath being held. Not yet. Part 2. Stowaway. The wretched light trembled slightly as Salvage disengaged from the freighter. The tow cables spooled tight, humming with strain as the engines adjusted for the added mass. He throttled the ship into a steady drift, setting a course for the nearest trade port where salvage registry offices didn't ask too many questions. He took one last glance at the monitor tracking hold 3F, still sealed, still quiet. His brow furrowed. That cracked cryopod stuck in his head like a bad chorus. He'd scoured the rest of the freighter. No signs of survivors, no life support, not even enough juice left to thaw a body properly. Whoever had climbed out must have done so before power collapsed. or something had helped them. He rubbed the back of his neck, uneasy. "You're getting jumpy," he muttered to himself. He left the cockpit, moved back into the narrow hallway of the wretched light. It still smelled faintly of gun oil and dry circuits, his kind of home. He passed the galley without stopping, boots clicking with familiar weight until he hit the aft storage bay. Just a precaution, he told himself. The airlock opened with a wheeze. He swept the room once, nothing. Then again, movement. His hand dropped instinctively to his sidearm just as a figure leapt from behind a row of supply crates, slamming into him with the weight of panic. They tumbled. Salvage landed on top and drove a knee into the chest, hard enough to knock the breath out of whoever it was. "Don't kill me!" the figure gasped. Salvage froze. The voice was young, male, terrified. He grabbed the front of the kid's jumpsuit and yanked him into the light. A pale face, maybe early 20s, streaked with cold sweat and dirt. A bloody scrape ran across his forehead, and his lips were blue-tinged with cryoshock. "You're from the freighter," Salvage growled. The kid coughed. Yeah, I was hiding. Please, they're going to come back." "Who?" "The ones who took the crew, the pirates. I heard them. They said they were looking for me. I didn't even know why." Salvage narrowed his eyes. "What's your name?" "Mickey." The name landed with a dull thud of familiarity. Salvage didn't know why. It didn't ring from bounty lists or war records. But the way the kid said it, like it might disappear if he didn't say it fast enough, suggested something deeper. "Why would pirates want you?" "I don't know," Mickey said, then shook his head, panic mounting. "They came in hard, like they knew what they were after. But they didn't find me the first time. I heard one of them say, 'We'll sweep again. High-value target. No mistakes this time.' That's when I locked the pod and waited." Salvage released his grip but didn't holster his weapon. "You stowed away on my ship. That makes you my problem." Mickey looked like he might cry, or vomit, or both. "You're not going to hand me over, are you?" Salvage didn't answer. He stood slowly, eyes scanning the corners of the bay. His instincts were yelling now. He should have caught this sooner. The freighter was too clean. No blood, no bodies, just one terrified survivor and a manifest marked classified. It smelled wrong. It smelled like bait. He stepped over to the internal comm and punched in a command. "Reroute course, break tow, dump the freighter." "No!" Mickey barked, panicking. "They'll know. If you dump it, they'll come right for us." Salvage stared at him. "They're already coming." Outside the viewport, the derelict freighter drifted behind them like a ghost finally being set adrift. But something in the silence made Salvage pause. He keyed up the long-range scanner. 3 blips, no beacons, running cold, incoming. His jaw tightened. "They're back," he said. Part 3. Boarding Party. Salvage sealed the outer hatch just as the wretched light's proximity alarms started chirping. 3 pirate ships fanned out like vultures around a carcass. One was a lean black corvette with fixed forward cannons. Another had jury-rigged boosters and what looked like a mining drill strapped to its side. The third, a shuttle, fast and nimble, broke formation and zipped toward the freighter. "They're sending a team," Salvage muttered. Mickey hovered near the rear systems panel, eyes wide. "Are we running?" "Number 2 late for that. They'll disable us before we clear the drift." "So what do we do?" Salvage holstered his pistol and crouched near a junction panel. "We buy time, and we don't die." The ship rocked gently as the shuttle docked hard onto the other side of the freighter. The sound of magnetic clamps echoed through the metal like a warning bell. Salvage pulled 2 EMP grenades from a pouch, checked them, and handed one to Mickey. "Use it only if you're cornered. These don't care if the system is friendly or not. You throw it, you fry everything near you." "I got it." Footsteps echoed through the halls. Metal boots, heavy, 3, maybe 4. Salvage motioned for Mickey to duck behind a bulkhead. The corridor lit up red with emergency lighting as the first pirate entered, a wiry man with a pulse rifle and eyes like broken glass. 2 more followed, moving in practiced sweeps. Salvage waited until they passed, then moved silent as smoke, catching the last one by the back of the helmet. He yanked hard, drove the man's head into the wall, and dropped him like dead weight. The clatter drew attention. Pulse fire cracked overhead as Salvage dove into cover. Mickey flinched. "They know we're here." "No kidding." He pulled out a small flash emitter, lobbed it down the corridor. A burst of white light and static scream filled the passage. The pirates staggered. Salvage moved. 2 shots, one clean through the chest, the second clipped the third's leg. Screaming. Footsteps thundered elsewhere, reinforcements. He grabbed Mickey's collar. "Time to go." They moved fast, dodging between bulkheads and ladder shafts. Salvage ducked into a side panel and keyed a manual override. "Secondary exit. Service tunnel. Tight fit, but it'll bypass the corridor." Mickey looked at the hatch. "How do you know all this?" "I've been shot at in a lot of places. You pick things up." They dropped into the tunnel just as another pair of pirates rounded the corner behind them. Too slow. Mickey slid after Salvage into the dark, and the hatch sealed behind them. Behind them, the pirates regrouped. And deeper in the drift, the real hunter arrived. Part 4. Last Stand. The wretched light shuddered under the impact. Salvage snapped upright in the pilot's seat, fingers flying across the controls. The external hull cameras showed one of the pirate ships locking on, magnetic clamps biting into the Salvage freighter's starboard side. "They're boarding," he muttered grimly. Behind him, Mickey strapped himself into the co-pilot's chair. He'd found a proper suit in the locker room, old security armor with more dents than shine, but it fit. The sidearm looked comically small in his hand, but he held it with purpose now. Less like a lost civilian, more like a man with something to prove. "How many?" "Too many," Salvage said. "At least a dozen on that lead ship. Might be more circling." Mickey looked pale. "We can't fight them all. Number. But we don't have to." He keyed a system diagnostic. The freighter's thrusters were fried, weapons stripped, but the reactor was intact. He thought for a moment, eyes narrowing as a plan took shape. "We're not staying here. They want you. They can come get you." "You're not handing me over?" Salvage gave a low grunt. "Don't like bullies." Another shudder ran through the hull. The proximity alarm screamed to life. The pirates were cutting through the outer hatch. He rose, grabbing a rifle from a hidden recess under the pilot's console. Slung it over his shoulder. Checked the charge. Full. "Mickey, you follow me, cover fire only. Don't play the hero." "I wasn't planning to." Salvage raised an eyebrow. "You're wearing hero armor." Mickey gave a faint smile. It was all that fit. They moved through the corridor fast, lights flickering above them, air thick with the stink of ion discharge. As they passed a bulkhead near the engine compartment, Salvage paused. "This is where we make it ugly," he said. He handed Mickey a signal booster and pointed to the cargo lift above. "Climb up there. Wait until you hear shooting. Then patch this into the engineering terminal and hit execute. It'll jumpstart the vent cycle, blow half the corridor with it." "Won't that kill you too?" "Only if I'm stupid." Mickey hesitated. "You trust me with this?" "Number. But I'm out of options." He clapped him on the shoulder and turned toward the breach point. The hatch exploded inward moments later. A flash of light, screams, then boots on deck. Salvage opened fire with precision, each shot a deliberate choice. He ducked behind struts and support braces, using the chaos to his advantage. The pirates fanned out quickly, undisciplined but heavily armed. Sloppy. He was counting. 1 down, 2, 3, stupid enough to charge down the center aisle. A fourth caught in a ricochet. 5 dropped screaming when Salvage ignited a coolant line and flash froze the bastard's lower half. The corridor shook. The emergency lights flickered again. The pirates regrouped, more coordinated now. Too many. That was Mickey's cue. There was a faint chime, then a warning beep from the engineering console. Salvage rolled backward as a wall of air and debris blasted down the passage. The vent cycle kicked in like a beast awakening. The corridor flooded with smoke, noise, and flame. 3 pirates were caught in the wash and thrown backward like dolls. Salvage emerged from the haze, rifle raised, boots steady. He didn't miss. When the last man fell, silence returned to the freighter. Smoke hung thick, alarms still wailed, but it was done. He leaned against the wall, breathing heavy, the adrenaline washing off like oil in the rain. Mickey slid down the ladder a moment later, face streaked with grime but alive. That work? Salvage gave a single nod. You get the engine rekeyed? Yeah, I think. Good. He limped back to the cockpit, Mickey close behind. Outside the viewport, the remaining pirate ships were breaking formation. Scanners showed them falling back, likely assuming the boarding party failed, and it had. Salvage tapped in coordinates. The wretched light disengaged, pulling free from the wreck. The freighter drifted behind them now, scarred, gutted, and bleeding atmosphere. What now? Mickey asked, still standing. Now? Salvage keyed a long jump toward a forgotten trade corridor, something off-grid. Now we disappear. Mickey looked down. They'll keep coming, won't they? Yeah, because of me. Salvage looked at him. Not just you. You're part of something bigger. Something the wrong kind of people want to stay buried. Mickey swallowed hard. And you're helping me why? Because I've seen what happens when you don't. The stars stretched into long lines outside the cockpit as the jump drive warmed. Salvage leaned back in the pilot's chair. The reactor hummed beneath them. Mickey slumped down into the co-pilot seat. We don't even know who's after me. Not yet, Salvage said, but we will. With a final clunk and a flare of light, the wretched light slipped into the jump tunnel and vanished, leaving behind the wreck, the corpses, and the last whispers of a past that refused to stay buried.
Now, that is the end for this one. Make sure you come back for more, and like and subscribe. See you soon.